So as you guys might have heard by now, Donovan Mitchell is on the trade block for the Utah Jazz. They're at least entertaining offers according to Woj. Go in the comment section below, man, and give me your best, most realistic Donovan Mitchell trade. I will take the best one that I see, and I'll put it into tomorrow's video, man. Also, while you are down there, I cannot grow this channel without you, my friends. So if you can please hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel, would be greatly, greatly appreciated. And also hit that like button, of course, too, man. But yes, okay, enough of that. Donovan Mitchell on the trade block, like Utah Jazz completely blowing things up. So the first thing I want to talk about is what exactly is his trade value even? Because, you know, I would say out of Rudy Gobert and Donovan Mitchell, I always personally thought Donovan Mitchell was the better player, but I also recognize too the importance of Rudy Gobert to that Jazz team when he was over there. And they got quite a haul from it. Didn't they get like 4 first-round picks? Maybe it was something more than that. Some good young players, you know, guys like Jared Vanderbilt and stuff. So I think Malik Beasley too was also traded to the team, and Patrick Beverley. But yeah, regardless, like it was a pretty good haul, all those draft picks. So it makes you wonder, what is the going rate for one of the best shooting guards in the NBA in his prime, Donovan Mitchell? Okay, so let's get going on this 24-hour Donovan Mitchell news update, man. So the first thing we have to note is with the New York Knicks. That is a team that is extremely interested, hence the blue and yellow, or blue and orange in the background, man. But right off the bat, it says that the New York Knicks have zero interest in trading RJ Barrett. And I'm going to chalk that up to a big-time W. I do not think they should trade RJ Barrett, because that's always my biggest issue with big-time trades, unless there's another like superstar or all-star caliber player to go along with the player you're trading for. If you're simply just swapping stars, you know, in a way you're just kind of like right where you left off, right, man? Like you want to combine those stars together. So I do think in general, the Knicks, they have like 8 first-round picks that I think are deemed as tradable right now. So with that being said, you know, they could offer up very much so with that type of trade package to get Mitchell on the team playing with RJ Barrett. Now at that point too, you know, gotta look at salaries and everything. And you're probably looking at maybe giving up like Julius Randle, which I definitely would do that. Now, if you're a Jazz fan, you're probably not too excited about that, but you're more excited about all the draft picks that can be, you know, chalked on top of that and everything too, right? So, yeah, you trade with Julius Randle, you trade with some of those picks, bring Donovan Mitchell, you start Obi Toppin, who you drafted in the lottery a few years ago. You are in a really good place. The athleticism's off the charts. The youth is there for the team. And, yeah, it would be a really fun, exciting team to watch in general. And I think the Knicks, expectation-wise with, you know, RJ Barrett, who, by the way, I think is one of the most underrated players, if not the most underrated players in the NBA. I think he's going to break out and be an all-star next season. You combine that with Donovan Mitchell, you're looking at definitely making the playoffs. I don't know the seeding exactly, just because, you know, it's kind of hard to go off like the past like few years, because with COVID and everything, like just players in, players out, and the standings, it's like who's the best team when completely healthy, but nobody's ever really completely healthy based off the past few years. But I think they would be a playoff team is essentially what I am trying to say here, man. So yeah, I like the idea of that. So yeah, I was saying they got 8 tradable first round picks, and this right here is kind of interesting too, because the Miami Heat, as we very much know, are interested, and it says that executives around the league believe that RJ Barrett has more trade value than Tyler Hero by a wide margin. So as we just read, they're not interested in trading RJ Barrett. So what's more valuable to the Utah Jazz? Trading for these draft picks and hoping whatever pick you get, you know, or picks you get, eventually you draft a star with that, or you can just get the guarantee bucket, what, 22, 23-year-old Tyler Hero. So, when push comes to shove, like if 2 offers are on the board, if the Knicks are like, all right, we got these picks, we got Julius Randle, and the Heat are like, you know, you can have like Tyler Hero with some picks, you know, probably not as many. Which trade are you doing? And at that point, if you're the Knicks, do you take out Julius Randle and do you replace it with RJ Barrett, man? Just to, because that might be what it takes. It's like, you know, are you willing to give him up to get out Donovan Mitchell? I'm still firmly believing that you shouldn't do that. But, you know, man, it's New York Knicks, and they have been notorious for making, you know, maybe some questionable decisions in the past, but also here's hoping to it being a new era of good, you know, contracts and trades and all that good stuff in between, right, man? So, yes, what else we got going on here? So, we have that Patrick Beverley has drawn some interest from the Lakers and the Heat, because, well, if you are a player that is somewhat good at basketball, chances are you will draw some interest from the Lakers and the Heat, man. I really like him on the Heat. I think that Patrick Beverley is Heat culture. I was not a huge fan of what Kyle Lowry brought to the table, and I don't think, with an additional summer at the buffet table, or just age in general, I don't think is going to be great for Kyle Lowry. Now, here's hoping too that he comes back and, he's working on his body and everything, but also Kyle Lowry is kind of on his last leg. So Patrick Beverley, I think brings that 3-point shot. He brings a little bit of playmaking. The defense is what's there though, man. And you just have him hounding the opposing team's point guard. It just really works. So yeah, they can get him going to the Lakers. I mean, once again, they already got Russell Westbrook, so. But Patrick Beverley very much so can just be a backup point guard too, and that'd be completely fine. And really, I think that Russell and Patrick Beverley probably could play together, although I don't know if like our eyes are actually capable of just seeing just that much just like explosiveness at one time. So I don't really know. What else we got going on here? Okay, here we go. Speaking of the Utah Jazz and looking to trade away some of their core and everything like that, this one's actually pretty important if it works out before Donovan Mitchell is traded. The Jazz have explored a sign and trade that would send Mike Conley to the Cavs for Colin Sexton. So, if you can pull that trade off, I think you probably got to toss in a pick, right? If you got a restricted free agent and everything like that, and Colin Sexton, I think you got to toss in the pick because Mike Conley, plain and simple, like, I think he only got 1 year left on his contract, so I could see the Cavs being enticed by him on the team. I think he'd be much more of a team player and kind of fit into the system as opposed to Colin Sexton. I think Colin Sexton's a better player, don't get me wrong there. But also, like, they're bringing back Ricky Rubio. They got Darius Garland, so having that third point guard on the team, I mean, yes, it's positionless basketball. All three of those guys to play together. I'm just wondering if it's optimal, though, right? I'm just wondering if it's optimal to bring Mike Conley on the team or maybe look to sign and trade Colin Sexton for a bigger need on the team and everything. And then, meanwhile, Colin Sexton going to the Jazz, I think that's a perfect scenario. I think it's a team that could definitely heavily use his offense, especially if Donovan Mitchell is traded, or even if he's not. You go into the next season with a backcourt of Colin Sexton and Donovan Mitchell. That's pretty fun. It's very short. I think both players are like 6 foot or 6'1". But I also think they're both, especially Colin Sexton. I think Colin Sexton is a better defensive player than what his height says, which is kind of a weird statement, but I don't know. Like, I've always been short and bad at defense, so I associate that with everybody else too, right, man? Also bad at all aspects of basketball. So yeah, I like that over there and everything. And even if not, then all of a sudden, if you have Colin Sexton, that is kind of a building block piece, not the main guy, of course. So then if you trade Donovan Mitchell, you look to, okay, who can we get that complements him well? And you look at, a guy like, I don't know, Tyler Hero. I think him with Colin Sexton would be a very fun backcourt to watch and a good start for that Utah Jazz as they kind of enter this new era without Rudy Gobert. I almost said Rudy Gay, but hey, him too. I think he's on the team still too, right, man? So yes. What other news do we have going on here? Pat Connaughton finalized a 3-year, $30 million contract with Milwaukee Bucks. Good for him on that. I think very much so. They need those wing players and everything. So keeping Pat Connaughton, who knows the system, is a champion and everything, I think is a good time move. And here's the hottest take of all time, and I love it. This is from Andre Iguodala, man. Death being pointed at the earth. Who you taking? Iguodala said this. He says, if Rasheed Wallace, one of my favorite players of all time, played in our league today, he'd be a top 5 player. He'd be better than Giannis, and I love Giannis. That's what he said. No, I agree. 1 trillion percent. Well, okay, man. The thing about Rasheed Wallace is, I watched him so much, is that he was a dominant player, but he was always stuck at 60%. And I don't think that would change in today's NBA either. I think very much so he would still be a great player, but you would only see 60%. There were so many times, man. Rasheed Wallace, he had a fadeaway that was as dominant as Dirk Nowitzki's, but very often he would come up and do like pull-up transition threes and stuff like that. A little lazy, man, but still dominant, skillful. So I get where Iggy is coming from, but I also know that Rasheed Wallace, effort's a big part of it too, man. And, that doesn't change based off of the area you play in or anything. So, yeah, that's all we have for this video. What do you guys think Donovan Mitchell should go to? Let me know in the comment section below. Thank you all so much for watching, and peace out, my friends.